Welcome people of the World Wide Web, and welcome to the latest video from Cypher Sigma. It's a weekend, obviously time to let your hair down, figuratively and literally in my case. But yes, as the title would presume, this is my top 10 figures of 2022. Now, the way I've done this and based this on is, this is figures or toys or anything that's in that realm that I have purchased and have in hand by last year. So from January 1st all the way up to December 31st. Doesn't matter when I pre-ordered it, doesn't matter 1 year, 2 years. This does involve older toys, so this might not be everything that came out last year, but it's just basically what I picked up within that year and what I value. So obviously some stuff maybe nostalgic will play in there, we'll have to wait and see. So yeah, so this is how we go. So this is my first top 10 of the year. Obviously I've only just, the YouTube channel is quite new, so hopefully everyone's enjoying the videos. If you have any critiques or anything, do let me know down below in the comments. But yeah, let's get started. So first we'll go with number 10. So number 10 we have Bill and Ted. Oh, and his guitar, yeah, so that is only one of the things. The guitar's a little bit fiddly there, but yeah. So these one stands, these are Neca. These are, I got these from a seller on London NEC in October. So I think it's about 25 quid for the two of them, 20 quid maybe. So yeah, as figures goes, obviously there isn't really much movement in them. Their arms, as you can kind of see, they have a little bit of movement. That is literally about it. Same there, you know, the most of their body's fixed, they have bases on them. But yeah, I was after these for a little while. I mean, I like placeholders and stuff for my collection to kind of represent a lot of childhood memories, and I did love this cartoon, and you know, the theme song is very catchy. So I definitely had to pick these up. I did buy originally a set from a Facebook seller, but unfortunately it never turned up, so it was quite good to find them in person for 20 quid, because I think that was cheaper than what this person was going to sell them to me for. So yeah, you know, reminds, definitely a constant reminder of the 90s cartoons. Yeah, I kind of keep the films as a separate entity, so I won't really talk about it on this video, but yeah. So that's number 10, so Bill and Ted. So the next one, number 9, is this guy, Harry. So this is Harry from Harry and the Hendersons. This is the full model. He hasn't got any suction pads or anything on him. He's quite good condition, obviously a little bit wearing on the beard. But yeah, there's a kind of big story to this, and this is, so very early on this year, I was on several Facebook channels. One I will put up there, so JCC, and one of the guys who runs it, Lewis. So you'll see probably picturing there. So top guy, and he happened to have 2 of these, and he was interested in raffling them off. So I was like, oh, I love the movie. My wife loves the movie, so definitely wanted to have this guy. The raffles, obviously, if you bought the tickets, it'd be about 40 quid. So I put a few in the first time. Unfortunately, didn't get it. Second time, unfortunately, didn't get it again. So being like, oh, you know, really wanted this guy. So again, fortunately went to the NEC, and there is a seller there, an elderly couple, who I've got quite a few things from the past. They did have a baby Sinclair all working. Unfortunately, I thought I'd go around and have a look, and then missed out on it and gutted, because it was a really good price and all in working condition, and obviously no damages on it. I have got one now that is unfortunately not working, but by the by. So yeah, these couple, they had this guy on here, and luckily 20 quid, so snapped him right up, because obviously I'd been after him, and yeah, I did post it on JCC, and obviously Lewis was quite happy that I got it. But yeah, he's a good guy, and I think they're doing their own shop as well, so I'll put a little tag up again, the picture of the Facebook page. If you're not a member, please do join. See, they're nice guys and girls, and they're always like welcoming to help you out if you have any issues or if there's anything you're after. So yeah, so he's number 9. So number 8, this is one of the first Neca ones in it. So this is the Ultimate Brain from Gremlins 2. So I put him there, see if I can hopefully not put it there. So I mean, one thing I do say with Necas, you know, the head sculpts and, you know, the you know, the patterns and how the figures come out are absolutely amazing. And this guy unfortunately suffers with quite a few issues that I've complained, or not complained, but said about Neca, is unfortunately the limbs were quite stiff. Obviously he can bend. So two options: you either put him in a hot water for a while, or you use a hairdryer. I always tend to use a hairdryer. It's a lot quicker and easier. And then you can kind of gauge it. You don't want it. I don't want the plastic to maybe get too hot and could deform over time. So yeah, so I had to do it on him to get him working, but you know, visual wise, he is, you know, like he jumps off the screen basically from Grimmers 2. Yeah, let's say, was waiting for this, really cool. I've only got him and Gizmo and a little stripe, so a very small Gremlins collection, but very, very good. Yeah, and say the reason why he's more hyped is because obviously he's got the stiff joints, but then also because they made such a good job of this little jacket and stuff. And let's just open it up there so you can see that, you know, he's got a little like bottoms that I had to basically take most of his clothes off to here because I didn't want the hair dryer to damage the clothing. So again, a little bit of nickel point, but yeah, a niggle point, sorry, for me. But yeah, so that was number 8. Ultimate Brand. So number 7, oh, you can just see something in there. If you want to pause the video and then if you think you know what it is and want to put it in the comments now, please do. I'd be interested if anybody actually guesses it right. But this is 1, 2, 3, 4, so 7. So this is Neca's Goliath. Obviously with my head in frame, you can actually see how big his wingspan is. You know, the fact his body covers like the width of my head. Not that I've got the biggest head in the world, but yeah. Absolutely love this cartoon. Found a new passion for it last year because I had several DVDs, but obviously with Disney Plus they put it all out, so I rewatched the whole thing from start to finish. I have the comics and they released a new series in December, so I have that to read. So I'm quite looking forward to that. Now these are really hard to find in the UK. They don't get imported. I don't know the whys, whats and wheres for that. So I got this guy from Big Bad Toy Store, I think at the beginning of the year, and luckily there didn't seem to be very high prices on import charges, so he wasn't that expensive. It's, I'd say, about 50 quid. But now, if you see Big Bad Toy Store, you're paying like 70 quid a figure, and I was like, I can't justify that. But fortunately, through somebody else on one of the other Facebook pages I'm on, he goes to America regularly, and he has a Bronx. So Bronx has the folded over Goliath wings as well. So that's cool because obviously, if you put him on my shelf, you can see he takes up most of the shelf as it is. So with his wings folded, and it'd be quite cool to have. Maybe I'll have them all out when I get them all. But yeah, so I paid for Bronx, so he should hopefully be dispatched at the end of the month. And then hopefully with his help, I will get most of the rest of this line as best as I can get to it over time. So that's good. So yeah, so 10, 9, 8, 7. So yeah, number 7, Neca's Goliath. But yeah, very cool figures and lines. If you can get hold of it, I do recommend them. You know, even just having one figure, look how grand he stands. You know, it's a very menacing creature. So this big cool figure. So number 6. So this was kind of a treat to myself just after Christmas, and luckily arrived just before the New Year, so you can be in this. So this is G.I. Joe's classified Barbarcue. So one of the Joe agents. He's not the perfect figure in the queue in the line of what I have, but this has opened the door for G.I. Joe. I got Roadblock from the brother-in-law, so I had 2, and then just in the new year I bought a bundle of 3 figures, Cobra Commander, Scarlet and Destro, and luckily the guy threw in some of the movie ones for it, so I'm already starting building up a collection now, and it is an expensive hobby. But the thing about I love these figures is they're very much match the comic and cartoon accuracies, and they do different versions to match. So if you like the comics, then potentially there'll be a comic version. If you like the more TV series accurate, then they'll do one of them. Sometimes they'll do alternates, and I quite like that. It comes with a few accessories. So he comes with his 2 axes, and then he has his gun and this hose. This hose is a little bit fiddly, but hard to see here, so he's got a little clip there that you can put his axes in, and he's got a little holster for his gun, and they all clip in, and that's what I found with Roadblock and everyone except Cobra Commander, because he has spare hands. But if they don't have spare hands, more or less they can carry all of their weapons and accessories, and that's brilliant. That's I love that. Is such a like a ingenious idea that is being missed, that you have all accessories, because I put them in like plastic wallets, as you'll see with the Defenders of the Earth line. Like I have them all labelled up and that, and it's got a massive big box, and it just gets bigger and bigger the more and more figures you get. So the fact that you can have these figures and more or less they can carry everything, yeah. And you know, he is a very good looking figure in my eyes. You know, I'm not really a big G.I. Joe fan as of yet. I know the movie and stuff, but he has opened the door to the classified line, and I imagine by the end of the year I will have a lot. I know people rave this whole G.I. Joe classified collection as the best of 2022 going forward. So it's you know, it's good to see that there's other lines out there that are rivaling, like Neca, Marvel Legends and stuff. You know, because it is been a bit of a one pony horse, you know, there's not really more varied collections to get, and G.I. Joe, I'm quite glad that I'm getting into it now. So yeah, so that's Barbarcue, so that's number 6. Number 5, Mandrake the Magician. Well, you know, I know people are like, Cypher, you've said in previous videos, you know, Neca, they have problems, and yes they do, and why do I have several of them in the top 10? But you know, they do produce very good figures. Like again, he was very fortunate that I only had to heat up his arm here, and it is still a little bit stiff, but overall, you know, he looks like he has jumped straight from the comics. You know, the cloth cape just gives it added effect, obviously, whereas the little bit of thread, I can kind of say, there you go. So I need to clip that off. I haven't got around to that, and I'm glad to pose him with the whole team. But yeah, him, even I think sometimes he stands out a little bit more than Flash does, and Ming, and I do like he's a very, very cool character, and he, you know, just the one thing I do say about these and NECA, you know, that these are all, they are priced a little bit more expensive, and you do get a little bit more accessories with them than like Marvel Legends and stuff, but the price you see it's still in the packaging, because it's still in the plastic packaging, and like, you know, the standalone, his tuxedo and stuff, I imagine that's just done for him. I don't know another character by NECA's that has this, you know, that they're going to reuse it. I mean, they may do, but you know, Marvel Legends, they reuse the parts as often as possible, and the price keeps going up, and the quality is a bit all over the place, I think. So yeah, this is why Mandrake the Magician is in at number 5. A big boy now. So number 4 is M.a.s.k Rhino. So as you can see, the wing mirrors are intact, a little bit loose, which is a known problem, and the chrome isn't too bad. Obviously it's not brilliant, obviously it's an 80s toy, so you're talking almost 40 years, and it's, you know, it isn't too bad overall. The mechanism works, the radar is still there, all the weapons come with it. So yeah, this is, at the beginning of the year, I kind of got a renewed passion for M.a.s.k, and started to collect them, picked some up locally quite cheap, and then I started to realise how expensive some of them are. This guy specifically, I went to Leicester Vintage Toy Shop, and they had one there. It was 125 quid, and I was umming and ahhing. I say the staff were lovely and amazing, and they were even going to throw like an Alex Sector in, but I just come back from holiday, and that's why we were passing Leicester, and I was like, I'll pop in, and I was like, it's just, there was no wiggle room for them really on this, and maybe I should have taken the plunge, but maybe not, and this is where it shows off. So later on, JCC again, they do live like shows, and they have loads of stuff like sell, and luckily one guy was selling this, and he was selling it for £70. So it's like, well, you know, 125 on one hand, 70, like, no, you know, looking at rough pictures, I was straight in there, like, yes, I will take this off you now. Unfortunately, adding with my pet peeve, 70 soon become just over 80, because it's like, yes, oh, you can have it, yes, it's 70, of course you can. Oh, but it's postage. Postage is like £8. Oh, and can you add fees on top of that? So I can have a 4 quid. And I was just, it's my only one pet peeve about Facebook stuff. If you're selling something, give me the price all in, because you really do lull people into a false insecurity. You know, you're saying like, oh, this is 100, and I'm thinking, oh, it's 125 quid in shop, and then going, oh, well, it's 10 quid postage packaging, and it's 10 quid fees, and then you're like, well, I'm paying 120, but I could have got it from a shop, probably a slightly better condition one for 125. Is this really saving me that much money? And I you know, I think that, you know, there's a bit, I'm very a very upfront person. I prefer, you know, tell me the price all in. I don't care you to break down, to be honest, to show the postage or something. I don't care if you're earning money off the postage. If it's a good price for me, then I'll take it. But yeah, Rhino mask, really happy to have that. Still a few mask bits I want for the collection, but he is, you know, say really good condition. He's there. So that's number 4. Number 3, so this was the last figure I needed in a Transformers line, and this is Transformers Animated Arcee. So this, I believe, is a Japanese edition, so it wasn't released in the main line, but her and Hot Rod are there. You know, Lee's, if you look on eBay, or when I did look on eBay last year, they were like 50 quid each, and that's a lot of money. This, luckily, there was a seller in my hometown, 25 quid. Met him in person, and you know, he couldn't be more nice and lovely, and obviously it was like, here's the figure, take a look, you know, and I like that for, you know, very upfront and forthcoming with stuff. Obviously, you know, the joints sometimes do pop off, but I mean, she is a very, you know, very good looking figure. That, you know, there hasn't been over the time of Transformers, there is more nowadays, like Elite 1 and that, we're getting more and more female figures, and I think Windblade is her name. But yeah, I was glad to have her. Obviously, I was glad I didn't have to pay 50 quid, so 25 was bonus. You know, I luckily got Hot Rod for like 10 quid because he was broken and managed to fix him, so even that was another bargain. But unfortunately, that was the year before, so he does include this. But yeah, glad to have her, glad to kind of complete the animated collection and have that in there. So yeah, animated Arcee, so she's number 3. Number 2, so I mentioned the brand earlier, so this is Marvel Legends Spiral. Now, I was a massive fan of Marvel Legends back in the day. I've probably have 100 odd figures. I have most of the Spider-Man, most of the symbiotes, a lot of X-Men, a lot of the MCU stuff, but I got just a bit oversaturated. As I've said kind of before, when they reuse the molds and stuff, and when you get the same sort of Iron Man, Captain America, Spider-Man, this version, that version, it's like, I'm sick. I'm sick of this, you know. I like kind of one figure. She was originally a Marvel Select figure, I believe. I could never get hold of her, you know, you're talking 70, 80 quid. But they did her in a retro pack, and she is really a stunning figure, you know, like the 6 arms and stuff. They obviously had to go slightly, you know, tailored new version, because obviously you know, there isn't a character like this out there as far as I'm aware. Marvel are using a mold for, you know, having all the weapons that she comes with and stuff, and the face is really good. I mean, and it was like, I think 23 quid. It was the first slight increase from Marvel Legends, sorry, went in from 20 quid, so I didn't mind paying a little bit more. Obviously, as you can tell, she is a little bit loose in the waist, but I mean, as a visually imposing character, she is absolutely, you know, stunning. So yep, so that's Spirals, that's number 2. So we get to my number 1 list. So this is a big guy. He's kind of a combination of stuff, so you may get an idea if you've seen any of my videos what I'm into, but I have to bring him in. So here he is. If I can get him back so you can kind of see how big he is. There he is. So this is the Wild Tousai Dodeka King. So this is basically the ultimate form from the Super Sentai series Zyuohger. So blocks, that was what the theme was, and this is, as the numbers are, each number is a Zord. So you can see there's like 10 of them all combined to this one. And yet this is absolutely amazing figure. The end of 2021, a fellow Power Rangers collector, he picked up this. He had the auxiliary Zords, and unfortunately I don't have them for the arms, so it's still something I'm on the lookout for. But he loved this. He said, you know, he's watched the series, he got the toys, it's really good. And I looked at the toy and went, yeah, it's alright, yeah, you know. But then over time, got a bit of envy, bought the series from an import version with the subtitles weren't brilliant, but you got the gist of it. And then by the end of it, I was like, actually, I do really want this. So I think it was about April, May time. I luckily got a good bonus from work, so I invested about 150 quid. No import charges on this, thank God, because he is a big, heavy guy. He probably would be expensive, and its crown has just fallen off. So you know, not perfect. I'm not going to bother putting him around. You can see him without the crown there. So plonk him on my leg. So yeah, he was 150 quid, but yeah, he's just such a brilliant character, and kind of emphasise the G.I. Joe classifying stuff. You know, literally when you put them together, I think there's one separate bit for the first 3, and it's kind of like a sword that goes in there. That's the only bit that's separate, so it's quite good. You can combine the whole series and then just plonk them on the side, and then yeah, it just literally sits in the garage next to the movie Megazord. and to the MPR2 Samurai Megazord. And yeah, and he's just a you know, very big figure, but the fact you can just take all the blocks apart and transform it is, you know, absolutely brilliant. So yeah, so that's my number 1. So there we go. Obviously it has been a little bit different list to other people because they'll be doing a lot of figures that come out in 22, and I've done like, but I still feel like, you know, it doesn't matter how old a toy is, you know, if it's a good toy and you've been after it for personal reasons, or you know, or just because it is a really good toy and hard to find, then it does deserve to be appreciated. So hope you enjoyed the video. This has been Cypher Sigma. This has been my top 10 figures of 22, and I'll see you in the next one.